Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Behind the Curtain. My name is Carly and I'm going to be the moderator for today. If you're watching us live, then welcome, and we would love to see you participate by sending any questions and comments you have into our live chat down below. And if you're watching us after hours, again, welcome, and we would love to hear any comments or feedback you have by putting a comment on our YouTube channel, or you can also email us at info@majestictheater.com. And lastly, if programming like this is something that you value, then we would love to see you go over to majestictheater.com and giving us a donation. But without further ado, I would love to introduce our cast of Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hold up, my video's been stopped.
Yeah, so is mine.
Hold on, everyone get in line.
Yep.
All right.
Takes
Here we
minutes
go.
small, right?
Hi.
All right, have fun, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to a Behind the Curtain for Majestic Children's Theater. We're talking about, we did this in 2018, I believe. This is Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. Everyone knows Alice in Wonderland. That's the one more done, but he did write it separately, yet they are always packaged together, just as one book. And often when people adapt Alice in Wonderland, they use parts of Through the Looking Glass, and it all just becomes kind of one thing. So just right off the bat, I thought it would be fun and interesting to do her going through the mirror. I think that's kind of, people know that, but they just know Wonderland more. So I thought it'd be interesting to do Looking Glass instead. That in itself is kind of weird and interesting. But anyway, there's no shortage of stuff to talk about. We got to do something while theaters are shut down. And I don't know what this is. Until people can get into a room together, we can't really do theater. This is sort of it. It's an amazing technological thing that we're able to do this. So I value that very much. And it's good to see you guys, and I appreciate you contributing to whatever this is. It ends up being kind of like an English class dissecting, a book. But I think that's fine because that's all connected to theater. So let's go around the room. Introduce yourself, who you played in the show, and briefly what you're up to now. Okay? And I'm going to go to gallery view. And Rocco is up in the top left of my screen. So go ahead, Rocco.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rocco Degree, and in this show, I have a list of characters here. I play the Mad Hatter, the Treasure Cat. I'm going to call this character the Train Horse, Tweedledee, and the Lion. And right now, I'm spending a lot of time at home working on my own music, and I'm in a filmed play reading of a play called Distant Music, and I play an Irish bartender named Dev.
Good for you. Thanks, Rocco. And you want to share right now quickly that I gave you a fun task. Giuseppe could only do 1 week, and you could do another week, right? We do it in reps, so there's 2 weeks between the performances. So you understudied him, right?
Oh,
so you jumped
yes.
into the show. It existed already, and you had to work your way in there. I thought that would be a fun thing, a good thing for you to experience. And Kaylee did that too with Mimi for one show.
Oh, yeah, do you want me to talk about that now or later?
We can talk about it after, I guess. So let's keep going. Okay. Autumn.
Hi, I'm Autumn. I'm going to be a freshman at UMass Amherst in the fall. I played the Red Queen, and right now I'm part of this virtual show with some people I went to high school with. We're doing Jason Robert Brown's Songs for a New World. It's on Facebook Live at August 7th at 7 p.m. if anyone wants to watch it. So yeah, that's what I've been working on, and I've been having rehearsals for that, and so that's been keeping me busy, and I've been having fun with that.
So it's rehearsals that look like this.
Yeah, it's like a Zoom call, and we have tech rehearsals like this upcoming week, and then the show's on the 7th, and I have to invite people. So I think I invited you, Steve. I have to invite people to the Facebook Live. I'm not sure, but once I invite you, you can invite other people. So if anyone's interested, or if I haven't invited you yet, just let me know. But yeah, it should be fun if you guys wanna watch it, and it'll be on YouTube afterwards too. So
Autumn, I have to say I'm a little hurt. I thought we were friends, and I don't think you invited me.
I don't even know.
She
So
didn't invite me
clearly
either.
we're not friends.
She didn't invite me either.
You know I love you.
Yeah, I wasn't invited either.
You know, Autumn, I just think this is the end of our friendship.
That's really. I think I have to go. I'm sorry. No, I don't know if I have you guys on Facebook.
I
I'll
Find
find
me on
I'll find
Facebook.
spell.
I know you have me on Facebook.
I
but
added you,
supposed to invite
Mimi.
me.
I added you.
Go ahead, Allison.
I don't believe
Hi,
it.
Allison.
Hi, I'm Allison Weber. I played a number of characters, I think. I've played the Bug with Cold, the White Rabbit, the Dormouse, and also the March Hare, I believe.
March Hare, but
and
we never got any bunny ears on you, unfortunately.
but I was not recognizable as the March Hare. I was just sort of a listing. And what I'm doing now, I forgot. I'm currently a rising sophomore at Bard College at Simon's Rock. I'm hoping to eventually be a tech theater major, and to keep myself busy during quarantine, I've been doing a lot of practicing, like playing the piano, and I'm also painting the house, so that's fun.
You're still painting the house?
Yep.
What's going on?
Yep. Well, the color that we thought we were gonna paint on the walls, it turns out my mom doesn't like it, so we have to change it.
That's funny. Thanks, Allison.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us. Hi, Molly.
Hi, I'm Molly. I play Alice in the play, and right now I am soon to be attending college for theater at HCC, and as of right now, I'm hoping to both focus on finding roles for my acting career, as well as focusing on my artwork and my writing as I prepare for college.
Good for you. Great performances, Allison. We can get into that. And Allison, amazing puppetry.
Thank you.
As
Thank you.
always. Thanks, guys, girls. Mimi.
Hi. My name's Mimi. I'm on my last year at HCC for a degree in liberal arts, and then I'm going to be moving on to an undecided college right now for a visual arts degree. So currently I've been working on my portfolio for that, so just constant art making.
Drawing, painting, or what do you do?
Yeah, I'm doing everything because that's what they want you to do, basically. But I played the White Queen, and I played Alice's mother in the play.
Yeah. Great. Have you kept your hand in theater? Do you still do plays at all?
Not in the last year. I haven't, because I've been focusing more on my visual art, but I would love to. I miss it.
Yeah. That's great. Thanks, Mimi.
Yeah.
And Benjamin.
Hello, my name's Benjamin Upperton. I played the father, the caterpillar, a unicorn, Tweedledee, I can't remember which.
Who cares? What does it matter?
Yeah.
Tweedledee, Tweedledum.
And I can't. Did I play anything else?
Oh, you said that. Never mind.
You played on the train. There's a man in a. He's supposed
Oh,
to
yeah.
be hard to portray in a paper suit, like he was made of newspaper.
Oh, yes, and I played a newspaper man.
Just hearing the roll call of characters is so funny. I forgot how many different characters all you guys played, and just hearing what they are. Man, is the play bizarre, and we can talk about. I love trying to depict dreams in art. How hard that is. I think some movies have pulled it off well. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind does it really well. It's hard to depict a dream, right? It's a shadowy thing. She even says at the end, they're just weird. They seem to have meaning in them, but then they don't. Some are just complete nonsense. And what do you make of it? What a human phenomena that it is. So we can talk about that in regard to the show. also this idea of nonsense and you know, in life you go, things are what they are, but are they? And then can two things be the same at the same time? But that's a contradiction. Contradictions don't exist, or do they? And it's heavy, complex, weird stuff. And I think it's kind of fun too. So, guys, jump in, talk to me about the play. Hopefully, you got a chance to watch it. What did you make of it? Is it too weird for you? Is there fun little things that do make sense that you like? Little quotes or sayings. I'll throw it out to you guys to begin. Go ahead, don't be shy. And let's just have a discussion about Through the Looking Glass. Go ahead, Rocco.
I think this play is a really great depiction of a dream because dreams aren't just about one thing and they don't make sense, and it's just like a bunch of scenes that blend together that are completely unrelated sometimes, but in a dream they seem to blend together. And I made a couple notes about the things that happened before Alice goes through the mirror, and almost every single thing that they talk about beforehand is what is incorporated in her dream.
Yeah.
And what I learned from a couple like science classes, like dreams are just like you trying to make sense of like what happened during the day. And I think also just like the bizarre nature of this, as funny and entertaining as it is a really great like a representation of a dream that happens on stage, especially with the smoke effects and the lighting.
Well, that's the fog of your mind. You know, it also gets into other weird realms about dreams, sleep. Somebody mentioned sleepwalking. I mean, that's a weird thing, right? Hypnotism, power of suggestion, you know, subconscious, you know, all that stuff. And that was all being talked about, you know, in Lewis Carroll's time. So, yeah, anybody else on that? On dream? And you mentioned, Rocco, in the beginning. Yeah, let's name some things that the parents talk about or that Alice says or what happens in the first scene that later come up in a dream. There's probably like 15.
The ones that I had, so they talk about Humpty Dumpty, they're talking about the bread, how cats can't smile, and of course Cheshire Cat, as you can see, is known for his giant grin. The time. Another thing they mention is the bump on her head. So yeah, and it's like it was never the same after that dreadful bump on the head. They're talking about
talk about mentioning that effect. You know, when you got a knock on the head and you see something or have a vision or you have a dream or it affects how you how your consciousness takes in reality. So that was just a way to throw in. That's not in the book, but this idea: what if she did fall down a hole and bumped her head and had this dream? That's in things, right? That's in stories. You know, someone wakes up and it was all they just got a bump on the noggin. You know, it was all just a dream. Yeah. Anyone else? Go ahead.
There's also I remember when we were rehearsing, you pointed out on how there's some similar dreams that people may have, like, oh, I'm late for school. Like Alice brings up that she's late for school, and everyone else can run as fast as they can, but you can't run at all. And then there was another one where basically you just want to get home, but you can't seem to get there no matter how hard you try.
Yeah, and that goes into So I think Lewis Carroll does, and I try to incorporate as many things that we can all relate to. We all have similar dreams to a certain extent, so he touches upon that. In Wonderland, she's falling. Everyone has dreams about falling. What else? Yeah, people tend to dream about being late for school. Often you can have a dream where you're in the same room as that you're dreaming in, but you can't really move around, and that's because you're asleep. Your legs maybe are trying to move, and they can't. Why won't they move? And that's because they're hitting the sheets. You know, it's like you're struggling to take action, but it's all in your head, but you don't quite know it at the time. I mean, it's so bizarre. What else is in that first part that comes up later as a dream?
Oh, they talk about the train is getting closer. Talk about opera glasses, the Odyssey, and that was all I had. But I know there's a couple more. They talk about bread. I don't know if I mentioned that. fighting over them chasing the cat and unicorn out with the bread.
Yeah. And I remember that the second act is comprised of the little tales that her dad tells her at the beginning. And so, and I don't know if this comes out, but I wanted that to sort of mean that starting in Act 2, she starts to remember stuff. So things from real life help her get out of the dream. You know, she goes, I remember my father said this one. I know this, you know, so that her like consciousness grows to suddenly figuring out the mystery that I'm dreaming at the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So guys, do you sort of see that at all? Maybe not. I don't know. But
And the
something,
chess pieces come to life too.
yeah. And that comes from when she picks it up and pretends to talk to it. She's, oh,
Yeah.
there's a dinner party. So her imagination influences the dream. You're kind of imagining when you dream. You're right. You're recreating stuff from usually that day.
Yeah.
She talks about going through the mirror, so that's what she dreams about. You know. Anything else, guys? On that or anything else?
I always, I find it a bit 1970s psychedelic, a bit the way it and it all just meshes together. You sort of, oh, there was this one film I saw in college where it was a jukebox musical of all the Beatles songs. I can't remember the plot, but I remember they do go on psychedelic trips where they go on a bus and then they go in a circus tent with evil clowns that are riding on frogs that melt into lollipop land, and it just keeps going and going, and that's sort of what that's what sort of popped into my head as I was rewatching it a bit.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I remember just watching this because it's a bit different from when I was acting in it and then when I was rewatching it. When I was rewatching it, I was just sitting here thinking like, oh my gosh, it was a bit strange because it's basically because it's just going one scene after another and there's not really a lot of like coherent moving from scene to scene. Like it's just like it's first she's with the White Queen in the living room, and then all of a sudden there's a blackout, and it puts her on the train, and that goes from her on the train to being the Red Queen, and so on and so forth. And it's just kind of like it kind of reminds me of like a little like an old like a one of those little like skit shows that you might see on like TV for like comedic sketch, because basically just it's one scene from the next, and there's not really and it's all part of one thing, but everything's different. But every little scene is different.
Yeah, I remember I went to Las Vegas for a friend's like the wedding reception, and we saw the Beatles' Love Cirque du Soleil show, which is in the round, and which is kind of psychedelic stuff, as you mentioned, Ben. And I remember arguing with my friend who's not like a theater person at all. He was like, that didn't mean it. He loved it. You know, but it's visually gorgeous. He goes, but he's like, it didn't mean anything. And I was like, what? You know, there's meaning in what they present to you. It may just come across as crazy and artistic, but I think you could pull meaning out of it. Just for an example, there's a part where it gets into the feeling of the Beatles experimenting and going off in different artistic directions from where they started out, and it shows representations of them in the middle of a open grand piano that's filled with bubble juice, and it shows them like the bubbles are coming out of it and they start filling up the theater, and then other people see the bubbles and they start making their own bubbles. So it's like inspiration, and then there's a bubble with dry ice in it and they pop it in it, so different kinds of bubbles. You see what I'm saying though about it's showing them inspiring people to think differently. It shows like their output. You know, I think that stuff is there, but he was like, no, it just looks nice, you know. But do you see that sort of thing in Through the Looking Glass at all?
Yeah, all that nonsense like means something, and it's her like making sense of what happened before she went to sleep. And then I guess there is a deeper meaning. Like, I don't know, how dig are we deep in here? Like, is this some like life changing meaning here?
Yeah, or is it just, or is some of the nonsense just pure nonsense? And I think some of it is.
Little nonsense is enjoyed
If
by
I-
the wisest men.
Right, but then she says, "Oh, but all nonsense all the time will make you mad." You
Yeah,
know?
there's I think there's specific scenes that are lessons, like the caterpillar, and like Humpty Dumpty. Some of his scene is more of a lesson, but then like if you go to like my scene, like the White Queen scene, it's kind of all just nonsense.
But you
Like,
say
it's a big mix of everything.
some poignant things too. Maybe yeah. I think there's some. I
Do
don't
you
know.
want to give lessons about jam?
Oh, here are the smoke rings from the caterpillar. They're tough to see on this recording, unfortunately, and you can't see. The balcony cuts off, unfortunately, Humpty Dumpty and the caterpillar, because it was just an archival recording, so it's just the camera's sitting in the back of the house. But I found that, that's one of the powerful things about YouTube and the internet. Is just I thought, is there a way to do smoke rings on stage? And it comes from just a big trash can with some plastic on the back of it and a hole in the bottom, and you fill it up with smoke, and when you tap the back of it, it creates that. So it's relatively simple. But I think it's pretty cool. That looks pretty effective.
All of us backstage, whenever that scene happened, we all kind of like were fighting to look through the curtain, and we
yeah.
put each other out of the way just so we could all see the smoke rings.
That was a really fun effect.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, we were like filling up. Me and Ben, we were filling up this trash bin with smoke. Just taking the smoke machine, aiming it in it, going up, and then just like pushing the trash bag, like to make like an air pocket in the barrel. Then that made a smoke ring. Then we go and reset. It was
I like I put in the caterpillar, right, because that's from Wonderland, but she doesn't remember. She would remember the caterpillar maybe, but she happens to be going through the forest of forgetfulness, or the forest where things have no name, which I love in the novel. She goes through that forest and she forgets who she is. So it's playing with dreams. Also play with memory and having memories. Look at Blade Runner. That's all about memories. I don't know if you guys know that movie.
Yeah.
It's also pretty hard to remember your dreams sometimes.
Yeah.
If you want to go back to the idea that Wonderland is also a dream.
Yeah. And I combined. She goes into the forest where things have no name in the novel, and encounters a deer, and the deer and her, they don't know who each other are, so the deer and her deer accompany out of the woods, and as soon as they come out of the woods and they both know who they are, the deer runs away because it's afraid now that she knows.
Do you ever just have like a dream and then you wake up and you remember the dream completely, but then you can physically like see it fizzling away and it goes away slowly and you forget as soon it's gone and you can.
And Alice,
that's what this play is.
Yeah, and that's what Alice says at the end, right? She goes, "It's all slipping away from me as I speak.
Yeah.
I can hardly remember what happened now."
Mm-hmm.
And he says something like, it's like memories. It all slips away with time. So there's your time theme for your, there's ever that clock in the background. There is ticking underneath the whole first scene that you can't really hear on the recording, but it is there, ticking away. And I guess what I wanted to use for the heart of the story, you don't see her parents in the novel, but I was inspired by, I think, Peter Pan. That starts off with the parents going off to the opera, I think, and dressing up and leaving the kids alone, and their nation runs away with them. And I mentioned, guys, last time I realized that I was inspired, I think, by that movie Jumanji, and I think Jumanji is inspired by Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass, in the sense that instead of going through a mirror, he goes into a game. The top of the game looks kind of like a piece of glass, right? He gets sucked into the board game. Hopefully, you guys all know the movie, right? So getting lifted into another dimension. He has a fight with his parents before they leave. In our case, the father seems to suggest that he's not using his time wisely to spend more time with Alice. So if there's any lesson or heart, I think that's it. Or if there is a message underneath all the madness and nonsense, at least in our production, it was like, appreciate time and use your time wisely. That's a big theme, I think, going on with the show.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I remember watching a biography on Lewis Carroll, and what was quite interesting because he was a maths professor at Oxford, or was it Cambridge? I can't remember. I think it was Oxford. A lot of the novels talk like it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen, and I'm not going to worry about what's going to happen, even though I know it's going to happen, and all those word jam and all that. Actually, he cooked it all up from poking fun at his friend, the philosophy department, and the logic game play. So essentially, he would take whatever format they had talked about and debated, and he would just squirrel it to be childish nonsense to get a laugh out of it. Essentially, how he came up with all of that.
Yeah, I also heard that he would, there was a real Alice. Alice Little was her name, who he was friends with the family, and he would take her, and I think she had 2 sisters out on a boat, and just to pass the time, he would, spin these little yarns of nonsense, making her the protagonist. He also claims, he said that he did the thing that we do with Alice when she looks in the mirror and holds an orange, and he said that he had asked Alice, what you ask her in the play, and she says, if I were on the other side, the orange would be in my, would still be in the hand that I hold it,
That's true, Steve. There's actually an old newsreel from 1930, I think, of her as an old woman talking in New York.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else, guys? Want to play clip, Rocco, or is there something there?
Oh, sure. I was just about to go talk about the music that you play right when like the room flips. I'm just gonna go pull up the room flipping right now. What is the music that you picked for this? I think it's like the same artist. At one point, it's backwards. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's by I think he was French. I think his name was Eric Satie, and he's best known for the work that begins and ends the show, which is the most. I used him because he seems to intentionally play with notes and putting them in different orders that you wouldn't expect. I remember once seeing, I'm a huge fan of the first, and everyone should see it if you're old enough, the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger, he gets you when you're dreaming. So that show that movie's a lot about dreaming, and I like it because it was at a time when, and they didn't have much money, they were working really hard to find out ways to portray a dream. And the director and the producer argued over. He was like, "You got to have this scene where she's trying to run away from Freddy, and her legs are sinking into the steps." And he was like, "No, we don't need it. We don't have the time." They're under enormous pressure. He's like, "Fine, if you think we need it so bad, you do it." And so they cut holes in the steps and they filled them with Bisquick, and so that looks like she can't, get out of the steps. I love that stuff, figuring out how to portray a dream.
Oh, yeah.
Here she is going through the mirror. I think this looks really nice.
The set for this is also incredible. How we're about to see in a few moments how the other side of the set is the same exact thing, just in reverse.
Oh, and I was going to say the music composer to Nightmare on Elm Street, the theme of it, the notes go, and I remember him talking about how he came up with the theme, and he goes, well, the notes go in places that you don't quite expect. Dreams go in places that you don't expect that are odd, so here I'll put an odd note, and the music, Rocco, when she's going through the mirror, it starts to play backwards, but the thing is that music already is going up the scale and down, so it's going to sound the same backwards pretty much as it does forward,
So are you telling me that's the same guy who wrote the is that what you're trying to say?
No, that's Halloween.
Oh my gosh.
Halloween and John Carpenter, the director, does his own music.
My bad.
Yeah, but yeah, that's similar. Yeah. Go ahead, Molly.
When you were talking about dreams and how I kind of like it how towards the second act of the musical, it's almost like she's starting to try to sort of like take control of her dream, Because when you
Yeah.
mentioned Friday the 13th and
Nightmare on Elm Street.
start thinking about that, and I was just like, oh. And I thought about the whole concept of trying to take control of the dream in general to try to, as he starts, and I feel like that's kind of how she sort of like and especially seeing the tea party scene when she's thinking about how to leave, and then she realizes, oh wait, I'm dreaming, and then and I feel like it's a really interesting moment in the musical, and I just wanted to bring that part up.
Yeah, she takes control of her dream. I don't know have you guys ever, I've tried to talk to my family about this and I can't because none of them.
Lucid dreaming?
What's that?
Lucid dreaming?
Lucid dreaming, yeah. Does anyone have a lucid dream before? You guys know what that is?
I'm
not fully certain what they are.
I know what it is, but I don't think I've had one. I don't know. I don't remember my dreams.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, it's when you realize while you're dreaming that you are dreaming, and instead of waking up, you can start to take control of your dream, and it feels viscerally real.
I think that happened to me a couple times.
And people usually fly. That's like the first thing.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. And it seems to, but I wonder if if someone that had lucid dreams, if they had never swam in their life or don't have childhood memories of swimming, if they would still have, because that's the feeling that it seems to give. So again, playing with memories and how memories, incorporate into your dream.
If I may interject really quick, I actually, for one of my school projects, I did like a little project on dreams and the study of dreams. And obviously it's psychology, and a lot of things in psychology just you cannot answer just because it's like in someone's head. So it's so hard to like know if you're getting it right or not. Because a lot of times like we ourselves don't really know what's going on inside our heads and like what we're thinking, that kind of thing. But I think two of the major theories about dreaming are the threat simulation theory, and there's not a name, I think it's contemporary dream theory or something like that. But the first one is basically that when you dream, your brain is proposing a bunch of different threats that you have to then like understand how to cope with. So like basically when you're dreaming, you're in this world where you can physically like have no harm to you. So basically you can try out all these different things. So if I was going to be placed in an alternate reality when a caterpillar is smoking and talking to me, what would I do to survive? So like that's like that theory. And the other theory is that dreams are based off of emotions that people are feeling, which is why dreams tend to be so complex, because emotions are really complicated. And as far as lucid dreaming goes, a lot of studies were done with people who were able to like experience lucid dreaming. It's really interesting because while these people were dreaming, they were actually like able to like send like sort of signals like while dreaming to like the researchers to like do their best to like understand things while they were dreaming. So that was like really cool. I just thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else on anything at all? Rocco, you can pull up another clip if you want. Probably keep pumping out the pictures if you want. Anything else, guys? I mean, anything at all. Come on. Give me some.
What's quite interesting with my dreams is I actually go into the deepest sleep possible very consistently. So I have not necessarily lucid dreams, but I have dreams about floating all the time. Sure. And I always, and it's like Alice in Wonderland, it's very trippy. So I always find it interesting going out of a dream. I can always separate it pretty easily. Very enough.
Yeah, and I wanted to convey her getting deeper and deeper into his sleep, into her dream in the first act, and then starting the second act with her starting to take control. Yeah. Right? Lights, turn back on. And they do, Go ahead, Autumn.
I feel like it's important to note that she's a child in the show, and the dreams are in the perspective of a child, because I feel like when you're little and you're younger, I don't really know how old she's supposed to be, like, I don't know, 10, 12, something like that. But when you're little, your dreams are more abstract and more crazy and wild, because when you're little, you believe more in more things. Like when you're just like a little kid, you believe in things that aren't realistic, like chess pieces talking to you, or like you can go through mirrors and go in alternate universes, and all the stories you read are real somehow, somewhere. And it's just really, it's more realistic in a child's mind for a show like this, because it's like more relatable to them, because they're like, oh yeah, like that's true, like that's real, this is what's happening, and they can like, it's really cool for them to see all these like imaginations that they've probably thought about before. And like, I don't know, I just think it'd be more interesting to have it in a child's perspective than someone who's already gone through like those phases in their life where they're like, yeah, that's not true, like that's not real anymore.
Yeah,
Or
well,
they grow out of things.
Lewis Carroll plays with childhood, I think, feelings, and I think those extend into adulthood, particularly when there's a moment in Beetlejuice, which I think is very inspired by Through the Looking Glass also, and I think Pan's Labyrinth is, and in both movies, they draw a door on the wall, and then that becomes this portal to the other side. So it's very similar to the mirror and going through the mirror. And when they get on the other side, it's a mess, it's nonsense. Then they have to take a number to wait in line, and Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, and they're like, well, all right, take your number. Don't you know how this works? You didn't bring the book. Don't you know that? Which reminds me of Alice when it's like
you're taking whatever.
Yeah, didn't you know you're supposed to take the key before you took the drink? And I'm like, no, I didn't. And feeling tall and being confident, and then when you feel in fear or put down, feeling small. So we literally see her get small, and while she's getting small, she's also feeling the most anxious and the most things are hard, and life is hard, and it's throwing things at me I didn't realize, and I can't reach the key, and why can't I? You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you guys? That it's playing with those feelings, I think.
Yeah. Because it's like you're frustrated that you don't understand everything, and when you're young, people just assume that you should know things that you clearly like shouldn't have to know yet. And then you get really annoyed and frustrated that you don't know these things. It's like, wow, I'm so stupid. I should have known this. Like, why didn't I know this? But it's like, no, you shouldn't. It's okay.
There's everyone moving down.
Yeah.
I love Ian here with the fish mask on. I mean,
That
it's just
was
absurd.
Oh my
What was that?
goodness.
Why was he there? Was it just to like fill space, just because you wanted an extra chair?
Yeah, and I wanted the table to I want this to be the height of lunacy, just insanity, and just to plop him there and not say anything about it. And the fact that he's there sipping his tea, and the mask just looks ridiculous. It's funny. It tries to. Lewis Carroll's playing with they're in the novel pictures of like the frog with a wig on talking to a fish, and the fish is delivering a note. So anthropomorphizing animals, but picking kind of the strangest looking ones on purpose.
Everyone loved him too. All the kids loved him. They said it was their favorite
Fish
character.
was their favorite character.
I mean, I think we had them. Yeah, everyone was like talking about like we'd be like, what characters did you like? I like the fish.
And I like that Josh is now puppeteering the rabbit when usually that's Allison.
Yeah.
But Allison, now you're doing the rat. So like characters are now switching puppets, and it's just black is white, up is down, and I like the little clock melting on the table. We were talking about time being a theme.
I like that I just fell asleep right there.
I like
great.
There was that moment, I remember, so there was that part where I had to like stick my head out of the table with my giant wig, and we went through so much trouble because the hole was too small at first and I couldn't fit the wig through the hole, and so then we had to like unhinge everything and then make a bigger hole just so I could fit up in there, and it was like for 2 seconds, and it was scary because the wig that I was wearing had so many bobby pins. Allison and I spent like an hour every
I remember that.
on my head.
I was Autumn's personal hairdresser.
because I had to put my hair in like pin curls, and then I had the wig cap, and then I had to put the wig on, and then that was an additional like 25 bobby pins. And so I was really like, it had to be secure too, because I had that running scene where I
Here,
was running
here.
in place for that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was always afraid my wig would fall off, and a couple times it got like sideways, and I had to keep adjusting it. 'Cause I was scared it was gonna fall off, and when I had to do that, when I had to do that scene, every time I went back under, the wig would get like mismatched, or I'd have to adjust it, and I was always scared it was gonna fall off, but it never did because I
You want
had.
to talk about? You want to talk about costume malfunctions? My dress was too long for me, and my shoes were too big for me. So every time I walked up the stairs as the mother in the first scene, there were multiple shows where I was like, I like stepped on my dress or something, or like my shoe fell off, and I was like standing there for a couple extra seconds. Like,
what about when you lost the brooch?
I remember.
Didn't you lose the brooch at one point, Mimi?
Yeah, it fell off of my shawl.
I also remember. I also remember we were trying to capture like the poofiness of the Alice dress. So I had three little like I think they were like little white skirts, like
The petticoats
underneath it, and one of them had like a bad elastic, and it kept falling down. So if you looked at the very act one, you can slowly see how it's just slowly sliding down, and you see a little white trail underneath the dress. I
Yeah.
remember that.
I loved
Beautiful.
the lamb in the boat too moment too, where she's forgetting her, her name and forgetting what things are called and not knowing what things are. I like that the dry ice pouring out.
Oh, that was cool.
Like the fogginess of the mind, when you have brain fog, you call it, when you forget things. That's weird. So he's playing with more things than just dreams,
Yeah.
And I was gonna say too, I remember in Jumanji when Robin Williams comes back after 25 years or something, being stuck in the game, and he's running around looking for his parents, but they're gone, and the house looks abandoned. I was like, oh, I realize now that I kind of borrowed that, I think, for that she still dreams, but she thinks she's home, and where is everybody? And it goes in with the, appreciate your time with people, and I wish the house felt more abandoned. I wanted there to be dust on things, but there's so little time. It's hard to accomplish that stuff.
Yeah, that also can tie into dreaming too, because I remember some of the scariest dreams I had as a kid were that everyone in my house was just gone. I didn't know like where they were, just vanished, and I was the only one there. So that kind of also is a dream, like you're in your house but no one's there. You don't know where they went.
That's another feeling-based thing too. Everyone kind of knows how that at least feels if it doesn't exactly literally happen. Anything else, guys, on anything at all?
I guess I'd like to talk about how I was. This is my first time being an understudy, and I don't think I had even done a full run through of this before we did the show, and I remember I was really nervous, and then like all of a sudden here I am with just like the horse mask just like plopped on my face, and fortunately everything went well, and of course with the insanity of this play, that's like my strong suit, and so I think I was able to pull it off really well, and it's a lot of fun. I'm so glad I did this.
I also sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was also going to add that like for me it was really interesting to see the difference between like the choices Rocco made and the choices Giuseppe made.
Yeah.
Because I think like it had the same like feeling, like craziness feeling to it, that like I think both of them like really fit the show really well. But like obviously they made like a bunch of different choices. So it was interesting to like hear the lines like delivered in a different way, and to like have someone to like play off of who's a little bit different. So I think like that for me was really interesting to like see both of them and interact with them both on stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's also so weird because I'm in the show, but it's like I have so many like fewer memories of this because I had nothing to do with like the rehearsal process, and like you guys had your own, even though we're all bonded together at Majestic Theater, you guys had your own little cast bond, and I'm just like, hey guys, I'm the new guy. Hi.
Yeah, you didn't actually have to. You had to focus on your thing, but to be there for the process of yeah, the play could get a little scary. I mean, I was worried about Molly, you climbing over that thing, and I held your hand the first few times, and I felt really close, and to do that, to accomplish the room spinning around and actually climbing through that mirror and do it safely. Go ahead, Autumn.
I have a question. Or was it you that were you controlling the cat? Who was controlling it? Like I know it was your voice, but who was standing up there? Was it
That
you,
was
Rocco?
me and Giuseppe.
Okay, okay.
And Josh at one point. So talk about creating
Oh.
puppets because you couldn't for some reason, so he stepped in and would control the.
Was it a ladder? Was it
He
just
was on a ladder, yeah.
Okay.
That was so much fun. That and the owl in Sleeping Beauty were my only times puppeteering. So much fun. I love it.
Yeah, I love the use of the puppets and the masks. There's Humpty Dumpty.
That Humpty Dumpty scene was like the best scene in the whole.
That was hilarious.
It was so funny.
It kind of reminds me of that scene in the kids movie where they go meet this big famous person they know, and this guy's kind of like not necessarily a bad guy, but he's very like sort of like washed up and a bit full of himself. And
Yeah,
that kind of reminds me of that because he kind of reminds me of like one of those like old celebrities.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. That scene was hysterical.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that I think she says at the end, some of it was pleasant, some of it was fun, but oh my God, the nonsense! It was making my head spin. I think it's important to remember that Wonderland or Looking Glass Land, same thing, isn't necessarily a good place.
Yeah.
You want people to be illogical, on principle for their entire life. And I remember a kid sending me a little girl sent me a letter saying she loved the show, but one of her questions was, why was Humpty Dumpty mean to Alice? And I would say, I don't know if he's mean, but it's also like, yeah, haven't you idolized someone and
never meet your heroes?
They're all right, or they jab you, they jive you, they give you a rough time. But I think when you're young, you can be sensitive to that. Certainly, I had an old brother and cousins, that tease you, give you a rough time, but it comes from love also. Here's her going into the deep state, the deepness of her dream, forgetting who she is. I almost had her pull a tooth out or two when she's on the boat with the lambs. Talk about disintegration. And talk about the music too, Rocco. The notes really going bizarre. It sounds like they're trailing off and things are falling apart and it's all things slipping away from your mind. Go ahead, Otto.
I like how you use the music themes over and over again to represent different things, like different sort of like themes in the show. I don't even know. It's sort of to evoke certain feelings, like when she's climbing through the glass is the same thing as like I think it's the lamb on the boat scene or something, but it's sort of like the same energy in scenes. You use the music in those same types of like scenes with the same type of energy that sort of have the same kind of themes in the show. I can't really give you an example because I don't exactly remember, but I just remember you using the same sort of little riffs for different scenes that sort of represented like the mood.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve, talking about dreams that we've real dreams. Do you remember you told me that the little line you gave me in the beginning? No, it's the end.
Yeah.
About the nut that your 8-year-old grandma had. You gave it to me because you said I was the only one who could pull it off.
Yeah, that was one of the last things I wrote into the script, and it was something that my grandmother just happened to share with me about dreaming, and she often dreams of people standing at the edge of her bed. That's something that Mimi says is the mother. And also Mimi says, I once relived a whole wedding I went to as a child. I saw all my family and friends. It felt like it lasted the whole wedding, and it was really, really real. And that's something else she told me once, that she claimed she relived the wedding in her dream. That's pretty crazy, And then she had also said, I saw an angel standing at the end of my bed. Oh, that's beautiful, And she's like, offered me a chocolate-covered peanut. Anyway, and that made me chuckle. And I thought, that's funny, And that plays right into do these things mean anything, or is it just nonsense? What are you to make of it, And I think a lot of people have that approach with Alice in Wonderland. They don't know what to make of it, you know. So I put that in the end. I used the parents and Alice saying, "What was that all about anyway?" It seemed to have some meaning in one moment and then just nonsense in the next. And the mother says, "Well, such is life, right? Sometimes it's nonsense, sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes it seems like something doesn't make sense, and it's unfortunate. And at times, maybe you can try and just enjoy it. Maybe the nonsense isn't so bad; it can be funny. You know, Alice in Wonderland should be funny. You know, and this gets laughs. You know." Anybody else on anything? We're almost done. So, any last thoughts?
I love the visuals in this show so much. Got some really good use of sound effects with the chess pieces having their sped up voices, lots of voiceovers, and also like the props we use of the Bible that lights up, and of course we have like that joke of like because like every time it opens, it sings a little bit.
That was one of those things, Rocco, that I've mentioned before, that because of my browsing habits on Amazon and stuff, that it knows that I purchase silly toys and puppets, so it recommends things to me that I might like, and you know, sometimes it recommends me things that I end up buying, and that book was one of them. We could just stick that in somewhere. It's so cool. What could that be? So maybe it's I think I took this from the first Addams Family movie, when in the library, when they open books, the world of the book comes out, particularly A Storm. So I kind of copied that. You know, this idea that the books in Looking Glass Land come to life, or they're different. Anybody else?
I think sorry, did I cut someone off?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think one thing I really enjoy about just like the whole story and the writing of the play is that there are a lot of questions and there are virtually no answers. And I think that's really interesting because a lot of the time, like with children's plays, you'll like have a question and then by the end of the play, there will be an answer. But for this show, there is kind of an answer, but like not really an answer. So I think I really like the idea that like it is a vehicle for discussion and a vehicle for more questions, because I think that's like really cool.
Yeah, think of what Alice starts getting frustrated because she's like, there's no meaning or moral in any of this. Where are those? You know, what's the moral? What's the message? What's it all mean? Does it really mean nothing? Can something mean nothing? Can art really be nothing? I mean, it's visuals at the end of the day. Got to mean something. Can it be a mixture, you know?
Well, the end of it, Lewis Carroll just ends it with a poem instead of a solid answer about I can't even remember the last verse of it, but it just says, "Life, what is it but a dream?" And he just closes it with that.
Yeah, but I like that the moment is the father appreciating his time with Alice. She says in the very first scene, "We haven't gone out on the lake like we used to," which is a nod to Lewis Carroll, you know, saying that he would go out on the lake and tell them stories or give me lullabies. And that he went to a show. There's a gag where she goes, "How was the opera?" And he's like, "Oh," the mother's, "Oh, it was beautiful." And he goes, "Oh, it was a bunch of nonsense." And I needed to occupy my mind with something while I was there, so I wrote this for you. So, but then that poem at the end, yeah, it's a poem, so it's a little abstract, a little artistic. But out of everything in the show, that one is the most. That poem makes sense, you know.
Oh God.
Oh man.
What a perfect look on Alice. Unreal.
Oh, and one last detail: the train in the background. You know, and how you can hear things in your sleep sometimes, and they're incorporated into your dream. You know, so I think that's the train. You know, when Mimi yells and becomes a train whistle. It's just the train getting closer to the house and her
Yeah.
hearing it while she's asleep.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. Anyway. Any final thing, guys, and then we can wrap it up. Say goodbye.
I wanted to state that this was a really fun play I did, and it was
Wait.
fun play for everyone. And there's definitely a lot of scenes in which I had to, even like after seeing them be done for like the 8th time, I was still like trying to hold back laughter so I wouldn't burst out laughing on stage. And one of them was to see where Autumn pops out in the dinner tray. Like if you get like a close up when I play in the performance, you can see I'm just kind of like trying to keep a straight face because it's just such a sudden thing. It's like, oh, there she is.
Yeah, so the point is,
Chaos.
all you can do with nonsense is just start laughing at it. You know, the mothers say, just try and enjoy it.
Mhm.
I think that's what it's about. So, to the extent that the play is fun, funny, I hope it is, should be. I'm glad it is. Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right, good show.
This is fun.
Awesome show.
Hi, Carly. Any questions or
Hi.
anything?
No, that was it. I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming here today. It was awesome.
Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. Take care. All right. Bye.
Cool. Until next
Bye.
week.
Yeah.
It's all
Bye.
done.
Bye.